I take no pleasure in doing this video. I really don't even want to do this video. I didn't even want to do it. But the reason I'm doing it is because 4 years ago, I promised I would do it. I promised I would do a retrospective on what Donald Trump did and did not do in office, as well as the expectations of Trump supporters. And I am not going to enjoy doing this, just like I didn't enjoy doing this when I talked about Obama. When Obama left office and all the dumb shit he did and all the irrational expectations his followers had. But I do what I promise. I will do this video because I promised to do this video. But as I've mentioned before, I don't like doing political topics. I'm trying to get away from doing political topics. Unfortunately, this is the second video in like the last 2 weeks I've had to do this because I did a coronavirus video a week or two back. When you live in a collapsing civilization, that's kind of the things you need to do. But hopefully this will be the last completely political video I ever do. Fingers crossed, God willing. I don't want to do another political video after this. But anyway, let's do this. It's going to be ugly. I'm going to go through and analyze exactly what Donald Trump supporters said Donald Trump was going to do back in 2016 and what I said he was going to do or not do back in 2016. And we're going to compare notes. And we're going to see which of us were irrational and psychotic and overly excited, and which of us were calm and rational and objective and fact-based. Like I said, it's not going to be pretty. Now, before I get started, a few things. I am not biased. I am a libertarian. I disagree with Democrats and Republicans on the vast majority of issues. I disagree with Trump supporters and left-wingers on just about every political issue you can think of, which means I am uniquely qualified to rationally assess the good things and bad things the left does and the former right does. There is no right wing in America. I call them former right. So the Trump supporters. I am not going to sit here and scream things like Trump is going to make America great again, which is stupid. Nor am I going to say Trump is literally Hitler and he's going to destroy the country, which is also stupid. I don't make statements like that. I base all my analysis based on the facts as I see them and rationality and objectivity, not psycho hope or psycho fear. I don't deal in those things. I'm rational. The next thing, I am not a left-winger. I advise you to go to my blog, specifically the Caleb Jones blog and or my new blog, which is coming soon, which will have all my blog posts. And you can go back and look at all the negative articles I wrote about Barack Obama when that piece of shit was president. You can see all the negative comments I got from left-wingers. I got death threats in my email from Barack Obama supporters when I was pointing out facts about Barack Obama. I have never voted for a Democrat in my entire life, unlike Donald Trump, who voted for Democrats most of his life. And I never will. Again, I'm objective. So if you're going to call me a socialist or an SJW or a leftist, you're barking up the wrong tree. I hate big government more than you do as a Trump supporter, and I'm going to prove that in this video. I can't stand the left. I disagree with the left on just about the modern day left now on just about every political issue there is. Sorry, that's not going to work. I'm objective. Next point I have to make before I go through this. What you are going to see in this video, most likely, you can watch the comments and let's see if I'm right. You're going to see Trump supporters make their standard response whenever I point out something negative and factual about Donald Trump. For 4 years, I've been pointing out the negatives of Donald Trump sporadically, and every time I do, the Trump supporters come out and say their standard line. This is their standard response, and the standard response is, Hillary would have been worse. Or what am I supposed to do? Vote for Hillary? It's always some variation of Hillary would have been worse. One of the primary reasons that the United States is in a state of collapse and now cannot be saved, one of the primary reasons, I would say one of the top 3 reasons why that is because Americans, both the left and the right, the Democrats, Republicans, everybody, are addicted to a disease called lesser evilism. That is, we must vote for this evil, terrible, awful person who will destroy our country because this person is worse. People have been doing that for 32 years. Voting for the lesser of two evils is valid if it's something unusual. If it's an unusual one-time scenario, you have to do it, so you vote for the less bad person, and then the next election you go back to voting for normal people who are good or bad or variations of good. Lesser evilism is a terrible idea if you do it in literally every presidential election for the past 32 years. Americans have been voting for the lesser of two evils since 1988, when it was George Bush Sr. Against Michael Dukakis. Every single presidential election since then, that's 32 years, Americans have voted for the lesser of two evils. And boy, what a shock that America is now a huge clusterfuck. It's like Harry Brown said, people repeatedly voting for the lesser of two evils and then being shocked when the result is evil. Voting for the lesser of two evils is not repeatedly now, is not a method to make your country better. Voting for the lesser of two evils destroys your country when you do it over and over and over again. Now, you're going to get the standard response to that. Well, you know, we have to live in the real world. We only have two choices. And the reality is we have to pick between Biden or Trump, or Hillary and Trump, or Obama and Romney, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. We have to be realistic, and we have to pick one. That's our only option. Wrong. That is not your only option. This is not an analysis on election strategies, but very quickly, you have other options besides voting for the lesser of two evils. I don't vote for the lesser of two evils. How do you explain me? Option one is you do what I've done. You don't vote, and instead you focus all that negative energy you have in politics into your own life. Building your Alpha 2.0 business, building up your woman life, taking care of yourself and your family if you have one. One of the many reasons I live a great life is because I don't give a fuck about politics. I don't vote in elections. I don't care. And all that energy that most of you are using, getting worked up about politics, I put into positive areas into my life. Getting my business structures in place, my relationship structures in place, all the other aspects of my life. So that's one option. You can just forget about this stuff and build a lifestyle where the political downfalls and the political fallout of bad people don't affect you as much. As an Alpha Male 2.0, you are not nearly as affected by all these horrible policies these morons in American government and Canadian government and European governments impose on their people because you're separated from the system. That's one option. Another option, if you really want to be political, is you vote for a third party. But third parties can't win. I didn't say they need to win. I will tell you this for a fact, and I'll prove it in a second. If, for example, the Libertarian Party got 15% of the popular vote in the next presidential election, they won't, but if they did, it would shift politics in that direction. Overwhelmingly, it would shift politics in that direction, even if no one won. If you are a left-winger, you're a big Bernie Sanders person, instead of farting around with this Bernie Sanders bullshit, if the Green Party got 15% of the popular vote in a presidential election, even if that person didn't win, the entire government would shift toward the left. It would. I'll prove it in a second. If you are a quasi-right-winger, there's no such thing as right-wingers anymore, but if you are a Trump supporter, right-winger, into traditional values and nationalism and things like that, you should be voting for the Constitution Party. If the Constitution Party got 15% of the vote in any presidential election, without anyone winning from that party, it would shift politics in that direction. Not massively, but it would shift it. Then you could do it again, and do it again, and do it again. How do we know this? Ross Perot, who was not a Democrat or Republican, he was a third-party candidate in 1992, got 19% of the popular vote. What happened? For those of you who are my age or older, you probably remember what happened. If you're young, you probably don't know what happened. Let me explain it to you. Ross Perot, his entire thing, his entire topic, he would go on TV and talk about these graphs and charts. His entire thing was the deficit, the deficit, the deficit, the deficit. That's all he talked about was the deficit. It's way too big. He said correctly, you guys can't keep spending all this fucking money. You're going to bankrupt your country. You're going to cause all kinds of problems. You've got to back off on the deficit. That's what he said over and over and over again. He got 19% of the vote and lost the election. What is the very first thing Bill Clinton, a left-winger, corporatist, but left-winger, what is the very first thing he did in office? He balanced the budget. The first time in decades. Why did he do that? Because Ross Perot got 19% of the vote. If you read Bob Woodward's book that he published back at that time, in the early 90s, I forget the name, people in Washington, the elites, were terrified that some third-party candidate got 19% of the vote. They were horrified. Oh my God, we've got to make sure we get people to vote for Democrats and Republicans again. So they leaned on Bill Clinton and his staff to balance the deficit, to balance the budget for the first time in decades. Something he would have never done if Ross Perot had not received 19% of the vote. So you can make changes in your country politically without voting for the lesser of two evils. That's number one. Number two, if I say, your president sucks, and I quote facts, if the first thing that falls out of your mouth is, well, the other person would have been worse, you just proved my point. You just agreed with me that your president sucks. Because if your president didn't suck, you could say, no, Caleb, you're wrong. My president is fantastic. Here's 3, 4, 5 things that he's done to make America great again. You can't do that. So instead you have to say, well, Hillary would have been worse. Now, by the way, this isn't a knock on Trump supporters. The fucking Obama supporters did the exact same thing when I bashed Obama. They said, well, you want Romney? Go back on my blogs and look at the comments. The comments are still there and they'll stay there forever. I want to show you what a rationality looks like. So those comments are still there. You want Romney? You probably want Romney. I can't believe you want Romney. I hate Mitt Romney. I would never vote for Mitt Romney. But these guys couldn't say anything positive about Obama, so they had to say, well, what am I supposed to do? Vote for Romney? Same thing with Trump supporters. When the first thing that falls out of their mouths are, well, I'm supposed to vote for Hillary. You just proved that Donald Trump sucks. So when you see the comments below from Trump supporters in this video saying, well, Hillary would have been worse. Were you supposed to vote for Hillary? That person just proved my point. So watch for it. Some people can't help themselves. They're going to say, but Hillary would have been worse. They can't control themselves. And again, it's not just Trump supporters. It's everybody, including Obama supporters. So just be aware of that. If you respond to the facts I'm about to give you in this video by Hillary would have been worse, you've just proven my point. You don't have to vote for the lesser of two evils, and you've just given evidence that your president really did suck. Now, here are the predictions I made. I'm reading them off another screen here. And I will link below in the articles in which I made these predictions. If you scroll the bottom of the articles, you'll see the dates I made these predictions. Most of these predictions I made in 2016 during the presidential election between Hillary and Donald Trump. Matter of fact, the main article I wrote this was the name of the article I wrote in 2016, 4 years ago. Donald Trump wins and nothing significant will change. Was I right? Let's find out if I was right. First prediction I made, he will not build the wall. Did he build the wall? You Trump supporters screamed at the top of your lungs for 2 years, 2016, 2017. He's going to build the wall, build the wall. Did he build the wall? He didn't build the wall. He didn't say, by the way, I'm going to renovate parts of the fence. That's not what he said, because he did do some of that. He said, I'm going to build a wall. And you guys said he was going to build a wall. I said he wasn't going to build a wall. And you said I'm stupid. You said I didn't know what I was talking about. And you called me a cuck. I was right. So prediction 1 point for Caleb. Next prediction I said, number 2. When Donald Trump leaves office, the U.S. government will have even more debt, both governmental and private. So, was I right? Not only was I right, I was more right than I thought. It's horrifying, and I'm about to show you real numbers. In November of 2016, when I made that statement, the federal debt was $19.5 trillion, okay? I'm not even going to say what it is right now because that's coronavirus. So I'm going to be really nice and say, well, Caleb, you can't count coronavirus. First of all, you can count coronavirus. Donald Trump did not have to pump $5 trillion into the stock market to bail out rich bankers and rich Wall Streeters. He didn't have to do that. He could have let them crash. I would have done that. You need crashes. It's called capitalism. Crashes and recessions are healthy. You need them in a functioning capitalistic system. I've written many articles about that. It cleans out all the corrupt people and it cleans out all the idiots and it brings in the competent people to manage that capital. Anyway, so let's not even go to the coronavirus thing. Let's instead compare the numbers to February of this year, 2020, before coronavirus started. So it was 19.5 trillion. The debt as of February 2020 is 23.4 trillion. It went up $1 trillion a year under Donald Trump. The federal debt has grown faster under Donald Trump than any other president in U.S. history. Let me say that again because I know it's painful to hear. The federal debt grew faster under Trump than any other president, including the Marxist, you guys called him a Marxist, Obama. You know, when Obama passed a spending bill of $1.2 trillion, many of you Trump supporters screamed bloody murder and called him a Marxist. When Trump in 2018 passed a spending bill of $1.8 trillion in new spending, you guys didn't say a word. You guys didn't care. I know you don't care how big the government gets as long as Donald Trump pisses off the left. I understand that, but that's the prediction I made. By the way, would you care to know what the debt is now after coronavirus? Guess what it is now? $27.2 trillion. As a matter of fact, the debt under Trump went to 20 trillion. I wrote about it in my blogs. Then 6 months later, it went to 21 trillion, pre-coronavirus. Oh, by the way, the debt's grown faster under Donald Trump more than any other president in American history, pre-coronavirus. If you don't even count the $5 trillion they pumped into the stock market before Corona, if you don't even count that, he is still, in terms of government deficit spending, the biggest big government president in our lifetimes, in all of history. So was I right? Yes, I was right. Prediction correct. Next prediction I made. The federal government will be spending even more money than it is spending in 2016. Was I right? Well, I just proved that I was right, but let's give some more numbers. In 2016, the federal government spent $4.0 trillion. In 2020, it's not the end of 2020 yet, this is an estimate, but it's a close estimate, around $4.5 trillion. And that doesn't count the trillions of dollars the Federal Reserve has pumped into the stock market. It doesn't even count that. So if you don't even count that, it's gone up by $500 billion a year. Spending under Trump went up, just like I knew it does. How come I knew it would go up under Donald Trump? Because spending under Republicans always goes up. Republicans are for big government. I've written several articles about this. Okay, so was I right about that? Yeah, I was right about that. Third one I was right about. Okay, let's keep going. Fourth prediction I made. The U.S. economy will not be significantly improved from 2016 levels, and it will remain around the same. Now, the first thing a lot of Donald Trump supporters are going to respond with is the stock market. The stock market, the Dow Industrial Average, is not an indication of how well the economy is doing. It's at record highs this year, while a third of the United States can't pay their rent. The stock market is not a reflection of how well the economy is doing. And guess who said that back in 2016? Donald Trump, before he was president. And he was right. He said this is bullshit. The stock market is a bubble. It's not reflective of how normal middle-class Americans are living. He said all those things. He was right. And then the split second he became president, he said the stock market is awesome and it's because I'm great and it's very important. So if you use the stock market, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You need to study some basic economics. The stock market is not an indication of how well the economy is doing. Now, in order to prove or show where the economy is going, that's very complicated. I could do probably an entire video on that. I'm just going to summarize with 2 or 3 basic numbers that I found. So first number that people like to use is GDP growth, which I don't like because that includes government growth, but I'm going to include that because that's what people like. So GDP growth in 2017 was 2.2%. It went up to 3.1% in 2018, and then it went back down to 2.3% in 2019. God knows what it'll be in 2020 because of coronavirus, but again, more or less the same. No significant improvement under Trump. Wage growth, that's an important one. How are our wages growing? So before inflation, these are pre-inflation numbers, so it means you got to drop these numbers lower. But before inflation, wage growth in 2015 was 3.4, okay? In 2016, it dropped to 1.3 just for that year. It immediately went back up to 3.6 in 2017. And in 2019, it's 3.8. So 3.8 versus 3.4, about the same. No significant improvement under Donald Trump. Did Trump make America great again? Yeah, okay. So, next thing. Next prediction I made. I'm telling you, there's a point to this video I'll get to at the end. Number 5. The flood of incoming third world immigrants will continue at more or less current rates. You Trump supporters in 2016 were screaming to the rooftops that he's going to block all them Mexicans and get all them Mexicans out of the country and get all them Muslims and export all these people and blah, 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 blah. Did he do that? Did he do that? Would you like to take a guess as whether or not he did that? Obama deported more people than Trump. Look it up. Now, you might say Obama was president for 8 years. Trump was only president for 4. My understanding of the numbers, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. You can take any contiguous 4-year period of Obama's presidency, and he deported more people in those 4 years than Trump did. Deportations went down under Donald Trump. Now, for the record, I don't care. I'm a libertarian. I don't care about immigration. You can have all the foreigners move to your country you want as long as you don't give them any welfare dollars and as long as you stop bombing other countries. I've talked about that in detail before, so I don't care about this. But you Trump supporters are really big on this stuff. And you were convinced he was going to stem the tide of all these third world immigrants. Here's some more numbers, if you want some more numbers. According to the Pew Research Center, immigrant share of population reaches all-time historic high under Donald Trump, dated 2020. U.S. foreign-born population reached a record 44.8 million in 2018, which is 13.7% of the population. The last time it was that high was the 1890s. So under your nationalist Donald Trump, under your America First, Make America Great Again, I'm sorry, I can't help laughing. Make America Great Again, Donald Trump, who's going to get rid of all the foreigners and bring back all the manufacturing jobs. Oh, God. Foreign-born citizens or residents of the United States is at an all-time historic high. The last time you have to go back to that much was in the late 1800s when you had the floods of people coming into New York City. So was I right about that? The flood of incoming third world immigrants will continue at more or less current rates? Yes, I was correct on that prediction too. Last prediction I made is he will not stop the foreign wars. A lot of you Trump supporters said, oh no, Trump's for America first. He's going to stop all this bullshit. We shouldn't be in Afghanistan. We shouldn't be in Iraq. He's going to bring all the troops home, and he's going to bring all that money home, and he's going to bring it home, and he's going to build bridges and roads and infrastructure, and he's going to make America great again. How many wars did Trump stop? Obama had 7 wars. So what Obama did is he took Bush's 2 stupid wars and turned them into 7 stupid wars because Obama is a warmongering maniac. What did Trump do? How many of Obama's 7 wars did Trump cancel? 3? 4? 2? No, 0. Matter of fact, he added one. -1. We are now bombing Niger. Why the hell are we bombing Niger? We're bombing Niger. So now we have 8 stupid wars. Now, by the way, some of you are going to say, but Caleb, he drew down the troops in Afghanistan. Let me explain mathematics to you. If there's 8,000 American troops in Afghanistan, and now there's 4,000 American troops in Afghanistan, did Trump end the war in Afghanistan? No. Okay, sorry, he didn't end a single war. As a matter of fact, the very first thing he did as president, I wrote a big article about this at the time, was he bombed Syria for literally no reason. He spent $100 million on missiles, bombing a country that never attacked us for literally no reason. Assad did not gas those people. I said it at the time, and 2 years later, the report came out verifying what I said. So he bombed Syria for literally no reason. Is that America first? Okay. I could go on and on. Those are the predictions I made. What is the point of this? The point is, as I've said many, many times, why I even bring up politics. Finding a messiah to solve your problems or make your life better is not the solution. It doesn't work. America is collapsing. It is in a state of collapse and it cannot be stopped. And the collapse is accelerating. And there's no one you can vote for who will delay this or stop this. There's no one you can vote for who will solve your problems or make your life better. Putting all this anger and time and energy into political issues is literally a waste of your life. You are better off putting this energy into yourself, into your business, into your relationship life, your health, your family, your own life. Protect yourself. Stop with this Trump shit. The sad thing about people on the former right, I'm not sure why they do this. They've done this since they lost the culture war, probably around 2010, is that they cling to these messiah figures. First, it was Milo Yiannopoulos. You guys clung to him and worshiped him like a god. Then he imploded. Then you clung to Jordan Peterson and worshiped him. Then he imploded. Then you clung to Trump. Now he's imploded. And there will be another Trump. There will be another quasi-right-wing figure where all the Trump supporters go, oh my God, this guy's great. I'm doing this video to try to reach out to those of you who are rational enough to understand that voting for these people and supporting these people doesn't work. Most of your Trump supporters are going to watch this video and get angry and get defensive and call me names. But I'm hoping there is a small percentage of you Trump supporters who will realize that you were full of shit in 2016. You got caught up in the hysteria. You weren't acting rationally. You voted for a guy who was a crazy man-child. And now we're in the same boat that we're in. The country is a shithole and it's continuing to collapse. We'll see if I succeed. And like I said, I don't want to do any more videos like this because I did this with Obama. Now, let me wrap this up by talking about you Biden supporters. Because again, I'm not a left-winger. I'm not a Democrat. Amazingly, you guys who voted for Joe Biden now are celebrating and you believe that you have helped the country. You amazingly think that by putting Joe Biden into office, this shaky, unhealthy old man who can barely talk, who is probably a sex offender, who voted for the Iraq war, who is a massive corporatist, and who is literally the worst Democratic candidate on the Democratic primary ticket in 2020. And I mean that literally. I was talking to some people early this year, and they asked me, who's the worst person out of these 20 people on the Democrat side, or whatever, 18 people, running for president? I said, Joe Biden. He's the worst person. Guess who the second worst person was? Kamala Harris. That was the second worst person. You have now elected this guy. You have now put this guy in charge of the country. And you think you've somehow done something good for the country because you got Trump out of there. What did I just say earlier about voting for the lesser of two evils? You did it again. You voted for complete and total evil because you didn't like Trump. I can't wait to hear you guys scream bloody murder in 2 years about all the horrible things Biden is doing that you didn't want him to do. You're not thinking about that now. You're just thinking about, yeah, we got rid of Trump. You're not going to help this country. And you didn't help this country. You're going to continue to damage this country by putting that person in office. This is not a victory for you. If you're a Biden supporter, this is not a victory. This is a loss for you. I personally don't care. In literally 3 months, I will be moving out of the United States and I will never move back. And I just don't care anymore. That's one of the reasons I don't do political videos. I don't care if you Trump supporters and left-wingers want to destroy your country over and over again by continuing to vote for these monsters because the other person is worse. Go right ahead, knock yourself out. Those few of you watching this video who have finally got it into your head that there is no political solution to your problem or to your future, that's why I'm here. I'm here for you guys. Build your Alpha 2.0 business. Get location independent. For those of you who have the desire and wherewithal to move out of the United States, move out of the United States. Get the fuck out of there. If you want to stay in the United States, you can click this video right here for the 6 things you need to do to make sure you do if you want to stay in the United States to protect yourself from what is coming. Because it's coming, and it's coming a lot sooner than you guys think. Please, next time there is someone reasonably exciting in politics, try to ignore it. I will not watch any more political debates. I said that on my Instagram a while ago. I'm not involved in this stuff anymore. I don't care. I'm focusing on myself and protecting myself and my family so I can prosper while the American empire collapses, and Canada and Europe. America isn't the only one, but you know what I'm saying. Think about this very carefully. And again, one more thing. If you see any comments below about how Hillary would have been worse, you've just proved my point.